Andy Pure Boxing News. I'm John.
On your phone, Andy, yeah?
On my phone. My phone's set up for the press conference for
I
your
didn't
new
know
star
whether
man.
you thought you might have sold your camera for a few Railway Inn mixed grills.
They're not that expensive, especially when
Actually,
you're paying.
They're not. Did I pay for the last one?
You did, yeah. So the next one's
you
on
paid
me.
for the first one?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So it's going. Do it as we walk,
Yeah.
or
Is he here?
He's just finishing off with his own, so he'll be
I will do it, and then as soon as he walks past, we'll go.
yeah, Eddie, just go straight back into that then. What a performance from Boots.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, what you saw tonight was one of the best fighters in the sport. 27 years of age. You know, it's going to take someone of the quality of Stanionis to bring out the levels of Ennis. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to Stanionis, but that's probably about 20% of the levels of Boots. There is so much more to come. And as I said, just 27 years of age. We know he's the best welterweight in the world. He's going to be the best 54 in the world. He's going to be the best 60 in the world. Tonight, he crashed onto the pound for pound list, and there's so much more to come.
He had so many questions after the Chachadzian rematch, but what impressed you the most from tonight?
Sometimes he does ship a couple of shots because I don't think he really respects the opposition that much, you know, like the comfort in which he sits on the ropes against a puncher like Stanionis is just frightening. You know, and I was watching like the first couple of rounds thinking, you know, obviously he didn't lose a round, but this is going to be a handful, this fight. And it's just like the rhythm and the flow. And as I said in the interview before, sometimes with fighters with that kind of IQ and that skill set aren't devastating punchers, and they don't try and close the show, and they don't throw with spiteful intentions. He's 34 wins, 30 knockouts. So he's got all of those attributes, but he's also a tremendous puncher, and he's a great finisher as well. And I've got to say respect to Marvin and the training team for Stanionis. His nose was busted to pieces, he was hurt bad. The fight was only going one way, and like sometimes you can be brave and send your guy out to get, I mean he was getting battered, but to get badly knocked out, or you can let him fight another day, and that's what they did, and I thought it was great corner work.
In the ring, you didn't want to call out other people. Why was that?
Just because I think people get bored of it. Like, you know, it's being respectful, but like people, I don't see anyone beating him. You know, I mean, definitely not at 47. I don't really see anyone beating him at 54. And I'm not even sure I see anyone beating him at 60, but look, my job is to hype these guys up, but what you saw tonight was a performance that allows me to do it genuinely. You know, like after the Chachadzian fight, I said I can't stand in that ring and say to you, this is the greatest pound for pound fighter on the planet. Tonight gives me the ability to talk to you and say, this kid's very special. And you've only got to read social media, even the ones that painfully have to say it, say, wow. And that's what we needed. We needed that wow performance, but we needed it under pressure in a fight like that, and he delivered massively.
He said he wants undisputed, but given the difficulties previously to try and make the Brian Norman Jr. fight, for example,
Yeah, I mean,
do you think it's likely to still...
These guys have to have the appetite. And I just said to you in the change room, great, you know, you put a performance like that in against Chachadzian, and then they wanted to fight you. Now they're going to watch that and go, no thanks. So it's going to take someone with ambition to test themselves against the best. I hope people like Brian Norman do that, but generally they just price themselves out. But we can do a big fight there with Brian Norman, and you know, Brian Norman's a great fighter, but no unbeaten Boots.
I know he's got the Times Square card coming up, but you've got the likes of Haney, Ryan Garcia, what have you. Looking at the rematch later this year, but are those names coming into 147?
Anyone, honestly, anyone. Tiafimo, Haney, Garcia, anyone. But, you know, Boots is a guy that is about legacy. He is about belts. And, you know, if he can fight the other champions, I'm sure he'd love to do it.
Do you think after Canelo Crawford, Boots is possible?
I don't know. I don't think Crawford's got that many fights left in him. You know, I think he's made his money, and I think he just wants the big fights. And I think if the fight with Ennis is big enough, he'd take it. But I don't think he'd want to get... And Crawford's got great confidence. He's not someone that thinks he'd lose to Ennis, but he knows how good Ennis is. And, you know, this ain't about calling out Crawford. I just think Boots Crawford's probably the best fight in boxing.
Just a word on a few of the other fighters. Ray Ford, dominant tonight. Matisse just not...
Yeah, Matisse went into his shell in the second half of the fight. Ray was brilliant in the first half. He's brilliant throughout. But, you know, he threw a few little boos in 8, 9 and 10 because Matisse was just following him around the ring. But we got the best 230-pounders in the world, unquestionably. Sugar Ray Nunes, and Ray Savage Ford. And when Sugar Nunes beats Rikishi in Japan, I want to make Sugar Nunes against Ray Ford. And that's a hell of a fight. Or Oshaki Foster. because those two have got a little bit of beef. Rayford.
Are you surprised that Fulton and Foster's being spoken about now?
Who?
Stephen Fulton Jr. and Shaki Foster. According to Tom Brown, back to the fight, which is going to be explored next.
Well, up at 130, yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't Fulton, he was a super bantam? Well, now he's gone to feather, now he's going to super feather.
Yeah. Away from Zachary Moses, again, a star on your hands.
Yeah, I mean, 19 years of age. Listen, our roster of fighters, top to bottom, is incredible. But obviously, especially the young ones. Zaquin Moses, Amari Jones tonight, fantastic. Shakram Gearsov, unbelievable strength, you know, through the terrible news of the passing of his daughter. And, you know, like you said, Rayford, great. Cardenas, great fight as well, earlier on in the night. Great night, great crowd, great performance. Off to Sheffield we go. Dalton Smith, Josh Warrington, Josh Padley, Kevin Ajarko against Ryan Kelly, and then the big one, Ben Eubank, 65,000 at Spurs.